Oogies and boogies, rebels and princesses, you are now tuned in to the Disney Holic Show.
Hello and welcome to the Disney Holic Show. That's Mike TV.
And that's Jen Diz.
Today we have some updates from the happiest place on earth, including new villains introduced at Oogie Boogie Bash, new food items, and a deep dive on the history of Tiana's palace. All right. Always fun to have a nice Disneyland update because a lot is going down over there. I'm very excited. So many things. So first off, this is like kind of old news at this point, but it's just something I wanted to talk about because it's happening in both of our coastal Disney parks right now, which is very unusual. But we saw a hurricane, aka tropical storm, because that's when it's on land, right? It's no longer a hurricane, hit Disneyland. And that was pretty wild. But the biggest, creepiest part of it is that there was also a 5.1 earthquake.
Yeah, that is the end of times is where we're nearing. The end is nigh.
The apocalypse is now.
Yeah.
So did you see any of this popping up in your news feeds and whatnot when it was going on?
I did. And I always, as someone who's on the other coast in New York, I'm always skeptical about weather news when I'm not in that area, because I've seen the opposite too, where people are like, are you okay? And I'm like, what? There's like
nothing's happening.
A storm in like upstate New York, but on the news it's like, oh my goodness, all these things. So so yeah, I'm curious how that was. I did see some people out. And then did it affect you up in Northern California?
We got like maybe an hour of rain from it, and that was about it.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it didn't really get all the way up to the Bay Area, but it did hit Disneyland, and it definitely wasn't anything too crazy, just tons of rain and wind. But it was kind of cool because it really looked reminiscent of Disney World, which we haven't seen Disneyland look like those crazy hurricane storms that come through Disney World all the time. And then just like a couple days later, there's this hurricane warning going on for Disney World. So it's like, oh my gosh, all this stuff is happening with this weather. It's pretty nuts. And then
hurricanes are usually
on top, it's wild.
Heat, right? It's hot plus the weather. It's a lot plus the storm.
Yeah, it's my favorite. It's like this like warm rain. I'm like, bring it on. But yeah, it definitely was hyped by the media, of course, as always. But it was still pretty intense for Disneyland. And, you know, sometimes places that aren't used to that much rain aren't really built for it. So we saw a lot of like flooding of streets. Like Main Street was like completely up to the curbs. You couldn't even see the curbs. Everybody was in ponchos. People were splashing around. It actually looked kind of cute. But the parks did close a couple hours early. And a lot of people were out there saying they should have closed all day. But knowing that that storm wasn't as intense as like what they were really, you know, trying to gear for, I think it was fine.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I also feel conflicted because the videos are posted. I did see of people out when it was like raining. I remember thinking, oh, they should be staying home. They're clogging the roads for, you know, first responders. But the funny thing is, I don't know what if being at the park is better for someone who lives further away from where they normally first respond. So maybe it's actually a good thing. And then the second part was my own confliction. Is that a word? Conflicting was I then saw the Disney World stuff happening, and I'm like, ooh, I would love to go down there during the hurricane. I was like, oh, I would like to stay at the resort and see how they do it when the parks are closed. So I'm just a big hypocrite. Is the
right. You're like, ew, those people are doing fun things that I can't do, therefore they shouldn't be outside. There were very low lines, of course, right? And a lot of things were closed down because when you get crazy rain and any lightning starts happening, they close all the outdoor rides. That's pretty normal. But it was just fun. I was like definitely peeking at the app throughout the day, looking at wait times, and I think it was like 8 p.m. and it was like 0 minutes for What's it
Rise.
called? Yeah, Rise of the
Something
Resistance. I'm
crazy,
like
right? I do remember
0
seeing
minutes.
that.
I've
Yeah.
never even seen that on the app. It usually has 5 at least, right? So it was pretty funny. But Disneyland did do their due diligence. They prepped for the storm by cleaning out a lot of their storm drains. They also removed a bunch of scrim, and I think that's why we got to see like what the treehouse is looking like. So they kind of unveiled
Oh.
the treehouse, because you can't have that scrim up. It's going to turn into a giant sail with a lot of wind, right? So they had to pull a lot of that stuff down. Yeah, it was pretty interesting to see that go through.
Other cool things that were happening at Disneyland. Ahsoka Tano is now making appearances in Batu, Galaxy's Edge.
Yes.
Very, very cool. I can't wait to see her in person. The photos I've seen looks really good. I remember there was a lot of, back and forth during Star Wars After Dark, After
Right.
Hours, whatever. But it seems like they figured it out and she looks great.
Yeah, I did see one post where they're like, Ahsoka's makeup is literally melting off her face, so they took her backstage early.
Oh
I can
gosh.
imagine
Yeah,
that, like how
yeah.
many characters do we see out that have full paint, right?
Yeah.
So not too many. I guess we also have Gamora that comes out. I think that's the
Oh,
only other one I
right.
can think of.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But yeah, she looks really cool. Like she looks legit. She had the attitude, everything, the personality, like nailed down to look like the real Ahsoka Tano was there. And of course, it was on Tano Tuesdays, which is super exciting.
Oh, is that
Cool.
what we're calling it? I like that.
Tano Tuesdays has been a thing for a while, and now it's even cooler that this Disney Plus show happens to air the night before it's supposed to. So it comes out on Tano Tuesday nights.
I like that. I like that. And I'm very appreciative that they moved it up. So it's 6 p.m. for East Coasters, I think 3 p.m. for West Coast. So
I think
it's
it's
pretty
6 p.m.
nice.
here, 9 for you guys.
Oh, probably. That
Yeah.
sounds right.
But everybody
Yeah,
can
so
like
now I don't have to,
watch it, right?
yeah, I don't have to wait till 3 a.m. anymore.
Right? That's so crazy. That's too
It
much.
is. Wow. So
Um,
we're both caught up on at least the first 2 episodes that premiered, right?
yeah, as soon as we get done with this recording, we're about to watch episode 3. So at least I am.
Nice.
So but yeah, it's really good. Do you like it so far?
I'm loving it. It feels like core Star Wars. It feels like um Dave Filoni, the creator of, Clone Wars and Rebels, he's able to bring these cool things to life that were animated form before, but when it was animated, fit into the Star Wars lore really well. So it's just all really good. And I think I remember you and I talking about Andor and like sort of why I can't commit to finishing that series because it doesn't have the Jedi and the fantasy, and this is giving me all the Jedi, all the fantasy, very Game of Thrones. Like, give it to me. There's witches, love it. What are you liking about it?
I haven't seen all of Rebels. I have seen quite a lot of Rebels, but kind of out of order. Like I haven't like just started it and watched the whole series, which I really need to do. But I really enjoy Rebels, and even with the like limited knowledge I know about Rebels, I'm already feeling it like that it's just literally come to life. Like they've
Yeah,
created this space that there's so much they're already pulling. Again, tons of fan service, right? But I'm here for it for this one for sure. Because it
yeah.
just, I don't know, it's really cool. They had that mural of the actual animated characters, and I thought that was such a cool touch. So they are
Yes.
nailing it so far. I'm very excited for it. And
I
I did think
teared
of
up.
you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Because Rebel fans, right? Anyone who's Rebel fan or loved it when it was out, I was obsessed with it, and I didn't discover Rebels until maybe halfway through the series. So then I did get to a point where I got to wait alongside the fans for future
Nice.
seasons, which is always fun when you find it like halfway through. But wow, I don't know of many other franchises that had an animated character that continued the story into live action. So for like Disney, we've seen
True.
adaptations like Little
Yeah.
Mermaid, but this is a literal like sequel to Rebels, and now they're suddenly in a different media. It's just like mind blowing, and they nailed it, which is why it works, because it could have not worked. And the fact that they still acknowledge the animated versions of them within the live action
Yes.
as a mural, it's just mind blowing. It's just so
It's
clever.
like fourth wall stuff, right?
Yeah, it's like, wait, okay, so I guess the animated versions of them exist in canon, perhaps the Rebel show was a sort of like Rogers the musical. There could there clearly were mentions of the rebels as heroes in this world because the mural exists.
Right.
So somebody had raised them on a pedestal and told their story
Mm-hmm.
somehow. Oh wow, it's just so cool. And then there are some side by side shots of one of the ending scenes of Rebels that they redid in live action to truly make that overlap. And I'm just like, genius. Such a good job. I'm very, very happy about it.
Yeah, I had seen that ending scene on Rebels, and like it's been a long time now, but I watched the live action one and I was like, oh, I see what they're doing. Like I remembered it, but when I saw the side by side and saw that it's like literally exactly the same thing, just for that one portion of the episode, I was
Yeah.
like just perfect. I love
Like,
it.
wow. Yeah. Wow. Arts, craftsmanship, everything. And
Mhm.
even the person who scored Rebels came back. So there's a consistency to that. It's like a little bit of a fun version of the Star Wars score, but also dark because the themes got dark at the end of Rebels. Really good score. And I also like the new characters, the sort of like Dark Jedi and the Apprentice. I think they're cast really well. I remember there was a lot of backlash with Kenobi because some of the new characters just didn't fit in, and I still agree with that. In this one, they just seem like perfect in universe. Like the apprentice woman, she doesn't look like she just stepped in off an audition. Like she looks like she's lived there for a while. She's like scraggly and upset with the world. And I think that it feels like she's been around this whole time. We just didn't know her.
Right. Ah,
Whereas
that's very
sometimes a
cool.
new character, just like Lizzo, just shows up right in Mandalorian or whatever. Like,
Oh,
okay,
Lizzo.
but this one, she feels like these evil people feel like they've been there for a while and they have reasons and they're upset about something. Even the Dark Jedi guy, yeah, really liking it. I cannot wait to see how this all leads up to Thrawn and then the future of all of these stories coming together with Mandalorian and Ahsoka, and it's just it's coming together. It feels
Yes,
really exciting. Yeah.
100%. Very excited about it. And I'm now 10 times more excited to watch the episode tonight.
Yeah.
Sweet. Well, moving back into more old school Disneyland, over in New Orleans Square, they're having a little bit of an update that we just heard about today. So crazy. I like haven't even had time to read through the article. But already I'm so excited. So there are a couple updates coming over to the new, like, or to the Haunted Mansion grounds area. And that's just like all the surrounding area of the Haunted Mansion. They're not changing anything in the mansion that we know of, at least, but they are doing a bunch of additions around it. And I think that's really cool because that's like Claudia, shout out to Claudia, by the way. Thank you for showing me this article earlier. She said, how do you feel about it? And I was like, there's more Haunted Mansion. I can't complain, right? Like it's going to
Yeah.
be an addition, like an extension of what I already love. And they're doing a few things here. First of all, they are adding a retail shop. This is going to be like kind of a Madame Leota themed retail shop, and this is going to go over. Like if you're facing the mansion from Rivers of America, it's going to be to the right of the exit where you come out. You know how there's always that little like what's it called? The
Like a
horse
push
carriage
cart
thing.
type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it has like merchandise in it. It's just like a cart. And then there's this like empty area next to it that's like an overflow for Splash Mountain line and like a seating area. I believe it probably is going to take up all of that space. I can't really tell if it's going to need all of that space or not, but I think so. But they're building an actual building there, like a new home, little house that's going to be a shop. And that's going to be full of Haunted Mansion merch that we can all get really stoked about. And then on the other side of that, they're going to have, now this is like on the left side of the Haunted Mansion between what's going to now be Tiana's palace and the Haunted
Oh,
Mansion. They're adding a ton of things over there for you to like enjoy. So let me see if I can just read this part off because I don't really know how to explain it otherwise right now. It says basically they're having a bunch of little gardens. It says local legends suggest the manor known today as the Haunted Mansion was first built by a prosperous sea captain, which I freaked out. I'm like, are they bringing in gore?
oh,
Are they going to bring gore to the area? I will be so excited. So he might have gotten a little like hot off of that movie, I wonder.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? I Matching movie. Today, or to this day, the mansion staff faithfully maintains the happy haunting grounds. The expanded queue will tie into these stories and more, including new gardens inspired by Master Gracie, Madame Leota, and the One-Eyed Cat. So what it looks like is it's probably going to be making use of that old school fast pass area. You know,
Yeah,
there's
where
that
there's like
area
the
over there that,
gondola thing
yeah, it's just kind
or
of like an empty space now. There's nothing really going on over there. So it looks like they're going to convert that space into these really cool
and that's where
gardens.
they have Jack and Sally during Halloween, I think, right? And they could still go back there in the new park area, I think.
You know what?
In the
I
zoo.
haven't seen them over there in a long time. I always see them over by the Haunted Mansion. I don't remember the names of their stores right now. Royal something. The Haunted Mansion and the pirate shop. That
Oh yeah, I've seen them there
they're like in
too.
between there usually.
Yeah,
But I have seen them. I know what you're talking about. I have seen them there before. But I wonder
that's
if they
interesting.
still use that space. But
I love
anyway,
this. I love the new store opening. I remember when Disney World's Magic Kingdom opened Memento Mori, and it was like, duh, why didn't they have a Haunted Mansion dedicated store? So I think
right.
this makes sense. And then I'm wondering, slash assuming they're going to move the merch that's on the New Orleans street, right?
I
Over
was
there.
wondering about that.
Yeah.
It's like I'm pretty sure I've walked through that store like 99% of the days I've been at Disneyland. I always check to see if there's something new. It's a quick walkthrough
See what they
sometimes
got. Yeah.
and just check out if they have anything new popping up. And that I'll be a little sad, but I won't be mad because we're getting a whole ass store over on the other
Yeah.
side, closer to the mansion, which makes sense.
And
But
they could always extend pirate merch or something into the other
yeah, yeah, I wonder what
something
they're gonna
else.
do. I don't know. Maybe they can have well, Tiana's already got a shop, so I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do with that.
I could use another Christmas shop. I know there's one on Main
Oh my
Street, but
goodness.
I missed the one that used to be in the alley of New
Right. That
Orleans.
one was very
And
cute.
by the time I came of age to actually care about it, it was gone.
Oh, well, real quick, back to the gardens. I just wanted to read this part too because it's pretty cool. It says each of the gardens will feature unique elements ranging from a water fountain, a gazebo, to themed statuary and landscaping. In fact, guests will be able to see a new greenhouse where the groundskeeper for the Haunted Mansion grows their plants. The pet
Ooh, I like that.
cemetery and horse-drawn funeral hearse will continue to reside in the attraction grounds. So sounds pretty cool. Like it's gonna
Yeah.
be very themed out and like literally an extension of the Haunted Mansion. I'm wondering if they're going to pull some of the elements from the Walt Disney World queue, like the interactive kind of stuff.
Oh,
I
that
don't
could be
know.
nice.
We'll have to see. And then lastly, one thing that they're doing as well in that kind of center area between Tiana's Palace, which is now French Market, moving into whatever, over to Haunted Mansion, there's a bandstand area, and it looks like they're kind of going to be opening the back of it so that the bandstand can kind of play in a 360 area. And then they're going to have tables and chairs like for dining in that middle area by the fountain. So you can enjoy the band and not
Oh,
have to be inside of the restaurant. So it's almost like an extended seating area for Tiana's Palace. But I think that's
that's
super
nice.
cool to like bring
Yeah.
the music out too,
You could even go
both
grab
sides.
a bowl of soup and bread on the other side and then bring it over there.
Yeah, yep. So cool. So I'm very excited about all of this. And it says it's going to be
Okay, okay.
opening in 2024. Didn't say when 2024, but that's already like, it's pretty close. So I think we'll
Yeah.
be seeing it happening pretty quickly. Um, yeah, yeah, exciting. I'm trying to see. Oh, one last thing. Construction begins early as January 2024.
Oh,
So
you know what? That makes sense, right? When they flip it back to
yeah, but
after
then my
holidays.
heart's breaking because it's like, how long am I bet you could still go on the mansion because they're not touching
Yeah,
that
I don't
part.
think the ride is
Yeah,
affected.
just
Yeah.
that whole area is probably going to get like closed off and covered up for a while. Woo, pretty
Walls.
crazy.
Get some walls.
Yeah, yeah, get some walls up, get some scrim that's printed on and throw it up.
Oh, and then
Um,
perhaps every that you know what would be nice,
hmm.
even though they're not good at synchronizing this stuff, was if it just all opens together. The Tiana ride and then the New Orleans,
Oh,
whatever
yeah,
they
you're
want to call it.
right. That might
Right.
be something to think about actually.
And in the meantime, you can still enjoy the new palace. I think, right? It's
Right.
open. Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be, I think that opens like tomorrow or something after this
Soon, right? Yeah, I
episode.
think so too.
Yeah. It's like very soon. Well, while we're on a spooky topic, we also had some news come out. Ooh, is that new Oogie Boogie Bash villains are coming to the party this year. So if you guys haven't been to Oogie Boogie Bash, it is a Halloween party in DCA, and they've announced new villains, two new villains. And it's so fun because when Disney announced this last year, I think last year might have been the first time. I can't remember if they did it previously, but they like put this teaser video out where they don't tell you who the villains are, but they give you hints. Like there's little video footage of stuff that if you know your Disney stuff, you'll know who it is. So did you see that video?
Yeah, I was very excited about it. Very excited.
So who are they? Who are the new villains?
So I like how they did the video because you see a hint for both of the new villains, and they both show like these sort of barrels, industrial barrels, and they both kind of relate to it. And the first one shows the dip from Toontown Roger Rabbit, and that means Judge Doom is
So cool.
coming to the parks. He's very scary. He's the villain of Roger Rabbit. I think on our maybe very first or second episode of this podcast,
Oh yeah.
we did a deep dive review and we rewatched that movie. It's a very good movie. And he is very scary. He still holds up as very intimidating.
Right, right. I was voting because we're like trying to think about these costumes, and I was like, oh, it's actually pretty easy costume to pull off, but you have to have the character acting is going to be the hard part for Judge Doom, right?
Yeah.
But I was thinking they should hire Maynard for Judge
To
Doom.
do it. I don't know if he's tall enough, though. He's a little short. Love
Oh
Maynard, though.
yeah, yeah.
The other thing you were
That one.
talking about to make it look real, what I found really scary about Judge Doom was toward the end of Roger Rabbit when he got the cartoon eyes. There's something unsettling about it. And I don't know how they're going to do that, but they kind of showed a little bit of, I saw it something on video of, unless it was a fan made one. But there's a second villain, right? So then it showed another industrial type barrel, and on that it said San Francisco. So we're like, oh my goodness, Big Hero 6. And the villain of Big Hero 6 is Yokai. He's also named Dr. Robert Callahan, or Professor. He was the bad guy that you find out was the professor all along in the movie. And I'm excited about that too. That one's an easy one because he wears a mask. It's a pretty simple
Right.
costume. Very recognizable once you see it with the red and white.
Mhm.
So that's really cool. I do have a fun fact. So I learned that yokai are a class of supernatural creatures in Japanese folklore. So he's
Oh,
named after an already spooky thing. And that type of creature can be a monster, a demon, a spirit, takes many forms. So it makes sense that he was
wow. I
named
did
that.
not know that.
And then another fun fact to give everybody is sometimes people forget this is a Marvel property. So the reason why Disney was able to do a Disney animated film, so it's not a Marvel animated film, it's a Disney animated film that uses Marvel IP. So it's a really nice marriage between the two studios and also lends itself well, obviously, to California Adventure. There's already Avengers Campus and there's already Disney there. So I think that's just so cool.
Perfect. That's awesome. Yeah, and it's such great timing because San Francisco is just opening soon, and like it's perfect. It's just like
Yeah.
it's gonna be very popular. I was thinking about changing my costume idea and going back to Roger Rabbit. Then Jessica, shout out Jessica, she mentioned, she goes, "There's gonna be like 1,000 Roger Rabbits because of this, so don't do that because everybody else will be doing it too." And I'm like, "You've got a good point. Fine, fine."
I don't know. I would say, you know what? I'm going to say not many people are. I'm going to go the opposite and say you
Okay.
would still, I would say you'd stand out. The reason why is I was like eyeballing some of the comments and things. Some people don't know who Judge Doom is, which made me
I
feel
was just
really
thinking that in my
old.
head. I was like, actually, how many people, like, there's a lot of people that don't even know Roger Rabbit or have like
Yeah.
heard of it, but never seen
Yeah.
it.
That's like over 30 years ago
Ah,
at this point.
yeah. I think
And
it's
hasn't had much of
89.
a presence in the park. Like some people don't even go all the way back to the ride in Toontown.
Right, right.
It's
Like, okay, Roger Rabbit's cartoon's been sure. Fine. And he's not in the
Now,
ride, Judge
which do you
Doom.
think will have the longest line?
Oh man. First of all, we are all wondering if they're gonna bring back Ernesto de la Cruz. But he was a walkthrough, so he didn't even have a long line. It's definitely gonna be one of these two. You've got me questioning it now because I was gonna say Judge Doom for sure. Judge Doom for sure. But now I'm questioning that. But also Big Hero 6, as much as I adore it, it is not also that popular in comparison to like some of the other,
Yeah.
things that are
It's
coming
like
out, like
Baymax
Coco.
is on its own,
Right,
but not
yeah.
really.
Everybody,
Yeah.
nobody ever knows the name of the movie, which is hilarious. They would go, "Oh,
Yeah.
Baymax," or the Baymax movie. They say, "Yep,
Yeah.
totally."
I think Judge Doom could be popular because it seems to be if there's an obscure character, even if
Yes,
someone doesn't know it and they might not dress up as Roger Rabbit, they feel like they have to get that obscure character, like a
right.
Pokemon. You got to catch them all.
I catch them
So they're
all.
like, oh, okay. And then I was thinking some other things might convert to a walkthrough. Well, you said Ernesto de la Cruz already was, right? I saw
Yeah.
a picture somebody posted of a backdrop that looks like the Hocus Pocus backdrop, but now it's
Hmm.
way over on the pier side. It's not
Okay.
over by Hollywood. And it doesn't look like it has enough of an area of a photo op, which I actually don't hate that. If they turn the three Sanderson sisters into a walkthrough, get more people through it
Right.
quicker.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
so it looks like that might happen from what I saw.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I mean, they're old news now, right? We've seen them. They've been there,
Yeah,
done
change
that.
it up so people want to keep
Yeah.
coming back to Oogie Boogie Bash.
Totally. Interesting. They also had a photo op for APs only, or annual pass holders, now Magic Key holders. I guess it was already Magic Key at the time. And it was a Hocus Pocus themed one where I had like the giant cauldron or the book or something. I think it's both a cauldron and a
Oh,
book. It had a big
book.
backdrop. So like they were doubling up on that last time.
Ooh, I like that.
Oh my gosh. But either way, very excited. And I will definitely be sharing plenty about that when I go on September 21st. So if you guys are interested in watching along on Instagram, you can follow my adventures through Oogie Boogie Bash on that day.
I will have FOMO. I mean, when you took me to it for the first time, I was like, I have to go every year. It's just so hard to pick and choose. There's so many events and we're on different
Yeah,
coasts, but
I
that looks like it's
know.
going to be a really good party.
Yeah, I really hope it's a lot of fun. Um, all right. Well, the next thing up on our agenda is all about food, and there's a lot of new food coming to Disneyland Resort in general. And Mike, last week on our episode, you mentioned that you love trying to describe things for people to, like, as they're listening to our podcast, just close your eyes and imagine and try to see what this image looks like. Well, now we're also on YouTube. Hi, everyone on YouTube. Um, and I thought it'd be fun to share the photo. Then people on YouTube could just like giggle along with Mike trying to explain these weird photos. And then everybody listening to the podcast can try to just imagine and make up their own version of what that looks like. And pretty funny. And then after you're done telling us what this photo is, like what food this is, I will share the actual description of it. So,
Ah,
are you
okay.
ready?
I am ready to look at some food and describe it for our listeners.
There we go. All right. First up on the list.
Okay, so what we're seeing here, and these are all Halloween related, right?
Yes. So, we're going to have two food challenges, but we're starting off with the Halloween food. Yes.
Okay, so first of all, this looks like a stoner designed it, sort of like those crazy Jack in the Box and Taco Bell experimental products. So
Yes.
what I'm seeing here is a hot dog bun with what I'm assuming is a hot dog inside. There's just so many toppings that I can't even see the main protein in it. And on top, it looks like it's smothered with melted, warm, gooey nacho cheese. And then it has toppings of what looks like flamin' hot Fritos. I don't even know if that exists. And then it has a what looks like maybe a poblano pepper or a jalapeno. I can't tell. I'm assuming they wouldn't make it super spicy, but that is nice and char grilled and roasted and dropped right on top. And then underneath all of these, I can see a little bit of what looks like pinto beans and maybe some chili pouring out under the cheese. So this is some sort of spicy chili cheese dog.
Yes. You did a great job, first of all. This is the spicy chili dog. It's the name of it. It is a premium hot dog topped with spicy chili. you mentioned,
Ooh.
nacho cheese sauce, spicy brown mustard,
Oh yeah.
spicy corn chips, which is our
Oh.
hot, flaming hot Fritos probably,
Yep.
and a fried serrano
Oh,
pepper. Close
Serrano.
though.
Nice.
Close though. Oh my God, you did great. That's so funny.
I
You were
like
able to
that. The
see
only thing
all of those things.
I didn't see the mustard. It like
The
blended in
mustard's the
there.
only thing missed in
Yeah.
that one. I still can't even see it. So it is what it is there. Oh my gosh. Okay. Next up, let's see here. You shared this
I might
one.
try that. I would eat maybe like half of it. It seems fun, but
Yes.
too
And I
much
love,
intense.
we'll notice a theme here as we go through some of these that they definitely associate like spooky with spicy.
Oh, okay. You know what? They did that too with when they were trying to make like evil Star Wars food.
Yeah.
Like Darth
Yes.
Maul's was like spicy
Just get the
chorizo.
hot stuff and that's
Yeah.
spicy.
Like mean
All right.
villains are spicy.
All right. Next up is this one.
All
Tell
right.
us all
So
about this one.
this looks to me like a dessert, and what I'm seeing is a very maybe like a small 4-inch version of a funnel cake. And on top of that deep fried batter is a gooey icing that looks yellow. So I'm going to guess it is sort of flavored like candy. And the only reason I'm saying that is because there's also a sprinkling of candy corn on top of the goo, on top of the funnel cake. And then there's also crumbs that looks like dirt. So that's probably like Oreo cookie crumbles or brownie crumbles. I can't really tell. And then on top of that, we're still taking it overboard, is a whipped cream poof that's shaped as the Mickey head. And on top of the whipped cream, there's orange crystal sprinkles. So this is a very intense, it looks very sweet, but it
Yes.
also looks like it's meant to be warm, which I do like a warm dessert. So yeah, that's what I'm seeing there.
Did another great job. And you were so close on this one. So this is called the Graveyard Banana Funnel Cake. It was so funny.
Banana.
You even said it's this like cream and it's yellow. So I think it's flavored as, and I'm like, banana.
Oh, I was so close. It seems like it's sweet, but then it starts to look like hollandaise sauce, and I was like getting grossed out.
Oh my God. And you're right. It does look like a small, like individual funnel cake. I wonder if it really is. That would be
Yeah.
amazing.
And I would like that size. It's a
I
good
would love that.
portion. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It's like taller and like skinnier, like condensed.
Yeah.
Very, very
I
good.
like it.
Yeah, and it does say that it has Halloween candy on it. Oh yeah, so let me read the thing. It's a classic funnel cake topped with banana cream, chocolate cookie dust, Halloween candy, whipped topping, and sprinkles from the Stage Door Cafe.
Oh,
Wow,
nice.
super impressive. Okay, you are good at doing these explanations.
Trick or treat.
That's right. All right, next one on the list is this one here. Oh, wait, I have to hit
Okay,
something
so
there, don't I?
another Halloween food treat coming to Disneyland for this
Yes.
season is this looks I'm laughing because this one doesn't look very at all themed like the other ones.
Right. This one
So
looks delicious.
it looks delicious. It also looks plain. It's giving me primetime 50s primetime diner TV dinner. So it has what looks like shake and bake chicken. It's a different batter than what I know from like Plaza Inn. It looks like shake and bake, more like breadcrumb chicken, maybe
Mhm.
tenders. I don't see any bones sticking out. And then I see what looks like a healthy salad with a lot of green stuff in it. Looks kind of plain, but there is either a vegetable or a fruit that I don't recognize that looks like baby little tiny little grapes or something. And then in the middle is what looks like an Italian dressing, perhaps, or a honey mustard, because the chicken is nearby. And in the distance, we see what looks like rice pilaf with peas, but I can't really tell. And so, as you're hearing the description, it doesn't sound very Halloweeny. So, what is this that we're looking at?
Halloweeny.
Halloweeny.
So this again is, I agree, not very Halloweeny. However, this is called the Curry Royale. And
Oh.
what's inside of it is spiced fried cauliflower. That's why I couldn't see no bones, because it's
Okay, that
cauliflower.
makes sense.
Basmati and green pea rice,
Oh, got it.
and spinach with chickpeas. And then you have a Romanesco. I don't even know what that
Ah.
is. Romanesco served with curry sauce.
Oh.
So they're
Okay,
getting
that sounds
pretty
good.
good. Yeah, it sounds really good. And this is plant-based also. So vegan.
Nice.
Yep.
That's really good. I like that. I do like, I'm a fan of deep fried cauliflower that emulates like wings. They usually, if they're done right, they taste really good. So this probably, you dip it in that curry sauce. It sounds amazing.
Nom, 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 nom. All right, next up we have this one here.
Aha. Okay. So here we have something that's a little bit more plated than the others because I will start with the side. So on the side, you have what looks like a twisty French fry. It looks like a wide version of a curly fry, which I don't know if I've seen at Disneyland before. So I'm interested in that. Who doesn't like French fries, if that's what it is? And then we have what looks like a it's that type of hot dog that's actually put into like a garlic toast or a big brioche instead of a hot dog bun. And so it's giving me a little bit of Batu Ronto roasters
Right.
because inside of this bread, the I'm gonna guess it's a sausage and not a hot dog. It is longer than the bread can contain. And so about 4 inches or so of this sausage is protruding out of the bread sandwich. And it is still stood up like a hot dog or like a taco. And then on top of that, there's tons of toppings. We see what looks like corn and maybe some sort of chutney and then cilantro on top. This one is really intense and it's hard for me to see what's going on here.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so weird looking. This is called the Tekka dog. It's like TKA dog. And this is the part that makes me very confused. It says it is a sweet and spicy pulled pork, but that's like definitely a sausage, right?
Oh, so it seems like it is a hot dog with pulled pork on top. I've seen
Oh,
that
on top of
before
it.
as a topping.
That's
That's a
right.
lot of meat, but yeah, I guess that's maybe one of those really
Yeah.
long, a foot long, maybe. It's definitely
Right.
long.
Yeah, it's very weird. I was just laying on the plate. I'm like, could they not find a better way to photograph this thing? I guess not. So it's a sweet and spicy pulled pork with a fiery tropical chutney served on a toasted bun with cuties, mandarin oranges, or film strip fries. Have you not had
Oh,
film strip fries?
film strip fries. I don't
They're
think I have.
over at Award Wieners and they're very delicious.
Ah, okay, that makes sense.
Awesome. Great job again. Oh my goodness. Okay. Next one we have is going to be this one here.
Ooh, okay. So what I'm looking at here looks like three buffalo chicken strips and French fries with some ranch sauce on it, and a sprinkling of herbs on top of the chicken, I think. The chicken looks a little artificial, so I'm thinking it might be plant-based, but I'm not sure.
Hey, you're right. It does look like that, but it is not. And very good describing it. I just picked this one because it just looks so plain compared to the other ones that I was like, what is
Yeah.
this weird food item? So this one is the spicy chicken and fries. It's steak fries topped with chicken tenders, tossed in a mango habanero sauce, drizzled with
Oh.
ranch dressing, and finished with green onions.
Oh, that sounds like a nice limited time version of a sauce, of a buffalo
Right.
or a hot
Yeah,
sauce. Yeah.
that's a good one. All right. And then last but not least for the Halloween foods is this one here.
Oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm seeing this at Disneyland. So this is something I do like. It looks like manila clams or some type of bowl with clams. It looks very high end, fine dining. And so it's a bowl of clams with a sprinkling of herbs and probably it looks like Parmesan cheese. I'm not sure what's on top of it. And then a couple of nice toasted slices of uh, a nice baguette so that you can dip it in the clam sauce while you're eating your clams.
Yes, was. You're right. This is a little more high end, and you would be surprised to find Disneyland because it is not in the park, it is in the resort at Ballast Point. So that
Aha.
explains why it's a little more fancy. And yes, you did great. When I first looked at this, I thought it was a dessert. I thought it was like some kind of
Barf.
cookies and cream something. It just like had all, it looks like cookie dusting. I couldn't even tell what I was looking at. I'm like, what is this mess of a plate? And now that I know what it is, I'm like, oh, there it is. I can see it very clearly. But this is the black garlic fettuccine and mussels. And it includes mussels, black garlic Alfredo sauce, and squid ink pasta.
Wow. Oh, now I can see the pasta because it's the dark colored squid ink black pasta, which blends in
Mm-hmm.
with the clams, the mussels. Oh,
Not crazy. My goodness. All right. So great job on the Halloween foods. We have a couple. Let me see. I have 4 from over on Tiana's Palace new menu that just came out. So that's fun. So let's see what they got going on over there.
ooh, very excited for more New Orleans stuff to
Yes,
come to the park. Okay, so I'm seeing, oh gosh, I forgot the name. I think this has a name.
it
It's
does.
a muffaletta or something like that.
What? You just pulled
Muffalata.
that out of nowhere? Did
Is
you
that
look
what it's
that up?
called? No. You know how I know? I'll tell you how I know. There was an episode of Queer as Folk where the wannabe chef, the cute one, Anthony, was helping
Oh,
people
yeah.
make muffaladas. And it looked just like this.
Hilarious.
And
Queer
it
as
looks like
folk or
it's,
queer eye?
what did I say?
Queer as folk.
Oh, not that at all. Completely different
I
show.
was like, wait, he
Queer
spells that
Eye.
on there?
Yeah. Queer Eye with Anthony and the Fat Five. Yeah, they did an episode like this. So not a po' boy, which is another famous Louisiana sandwich. So this looks like a
Mhm.
muffalata. So it has tons of different sliced deli meat inside, and then it's topped with tons of different like fillings. So that you usually have like peppers and onions and carrots depending on the chef. And then this looks like it's served with a bowl of um rice and gravy. I guess New Orleans style, maybe rice and gravy, and then a pickle.
And a pickle. I'm just noticing on this description, it does not say what that side is. I'm wondering if it's like
Oh,
a little side of gumbo or something like that.
ooh, that would be
Kind of looks like
nice.
that too. But this is, you're right, the muffaletta sandwich. And this stacks mortadella, which I don't even know is a thing. I guess it's a type of deli meat.
I think it's
Mortadella.
a cheese.
Oh, the cheese, the cheese. Okay.
Yeah.
Mortadella, salami, rosemary ham, cheddar, provolone, and house-made olive relish on toasted New Orleans sesame seed bread. So very
Mm,
cool to see them bringing in like a nice classic, right? Like this is
yeah.
like, that's really cool that they're kind of tying everything in together. All right, the next one. What do you think is
Ooh,
going
okay.
on
So
here?
what I'm seeing here is another, it looks like another play on using a type of like either a hot dog roll. It looks like the type of rolls that you would use for a lobster roll. So it's a little bit long, a little hero-esque. And then inside, I have no idea what's inside. It looks like maybe some sliced tomatoes, definitely some lettuce. There's a pickle peeking out, and what I think it might be pulled pork again, making another appearance here.
So this is the beef po' boy sandwich, which
Oh,
you
it's the
mentioned a little bit
po'
ago.
boy.
And it featured slow cooked beef, perfectly coated with gravy and fully dressed with shredded lettuce, tomato, and mayo, atop of a New Orleans French bread.
Yum. So two
Yum.
iconic sandwiches coming to the
Right.
parks.
And keeping in the Southern theme, we have this one
Ooh.
here.
So what I'm looking at is a delicious plate of perhaps an andouille sauce shrimp or some type of shrimp. And then it is served in what looks like grits. And you get a pretty good amount of shrimp, like maybe 6 pieces, and then it's topped off with some herbs.
You got it again. Nailed it again. This is Gulf shrimp and grits, grilled to perfection, tossed in Creole sauce. And then the shrimp are paired with cheesy grits. It's very New Orleans,
Yum.
like shrimp and grits, right?
Yeah.
That's
With
really cool.
Cajun sauce, that sounds good too. These
And
are
then
all the
you,
kind that I would, you know how I used to not be a sharer? These all look like the kind that I would want to sit and share because I
oh
just
my
want to taste a
gosh,
little
come
bit.
on down. Let's go and try all the foods.
Let's do it.
And then I think, we probably should like finish this up with some dessert, right? And
Yeah.
what would it be like? in New Orleans Square, especially near Tiana's Palace, without one of these?
So what I'm seeing is I'm second guessing myself. It seems like I thought I knew what a beignet was. Um, but this is also like filled with custard. So I think it's called something else.
Yeah, no, it's just a house-filled beignet.
Oh,
Yeah.
yum.
But very different from the ones we see over at the Mint Julep bar. And I am not sure if they're going to get replaced with these as well, or if this is going
Oh.
to be something you could buy inside Tiana's Palace, and then they'll have those classic Mickey beignets with the powdered sugar on the outside still. Because
Oh, that makes sense. Like there's a good one for like takeaway, and then
yeah,
there's
like some
sit
throw it in
down.
a bag, right? Have all the powdered sugar in there, and then this one's more of a sit down on a plate and use a fork and knife. But yes, this is a house filled beignet, and it features delicious lemon icebox pie filled
Lemon.
or filling topped with a lemon glaze.
Oh, I didn't expect the
Sounds
lemon. It
tasty.
looks really good. It looks crispy. It's more of like a poofy square, and in a good way, it's giving me the texture of the old school McDonald's apple pies before they changed the recipe. When it was good
When
and
they were
bubbly and
good.
deep
Yeah.
fried. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you did a great job.
Yeah, that was fun.
Okay, we're gonna have to do more of those because you just nailed it on all of this, and I'm very impressed.
Move over, Anthony, Queer Eye. I'm the new
Right?
wannabe food expert.
That's right. Oh my gosh. So lots of new food coming, and that is all coming in place of at Tiana, or not all. Some of that is coming in place at Tiana's Palace. And what Tiana's Palace just right before it became that was the French market. And I thought we would take a few moments to dive into the history of the French market.
Yeah.
So on July 24th of 1966, Disneyland opened their very first new land since opening day, and that was New Orleans Square. So I kind of forget that sometimes that was the first addition to the original layout, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. I
Uh,
always assumed it was there.
right.
Hmm.
The land was dedicated by Walt Disney himself and the mayor of New Orleans. His name was
What?
Victor. Yeah, right. Victor H. Shiro. And during the ceremony, the mayor named Walt as an honorary citizen of New Orleans. How cute is that?
That would be cool if they did that again for like the reopening
Oh,
of the land.
yeah. A
Yeah. Like bring
rededication or
some
whatever.
rededication. Yeah.
Yeah,
And bring over some people from Louisiana.
that'll be awesome. There was a great quote to come out of this moment. I called it the meet cute here, very cute.
Ooh.
And it said, "The Imagineering Field Guide to Disneyland." No, I have the quotes on the wrong thing. It's from the Imagineering Field Guide to Disneyland,
Uh,
which was a magazine. And it said the mayor admitted that New Orleans Square looked just like the real thing. However, he was somewhat miffed when Walt pointed out that Disneyland version was cleaner.
did Walt have to say that?
I can totally picture it for some reason.
Dig, like a little dig he just had to throw in
Right?
there.
He's like, well, so funny. Another thing that happened on that day, along with the grand opening of New Orleans Square, we also saw the grand opening of the French Market, which is, of course, the predecessor to Tiana's Palace. I did not know that the French Market has been there since opening of New Orleans Square. There
Oh.
have been like a lot of restaurants rotating through that area, but I guess, those are probably all before New Orleans Square in general, I guess. So I thought I was going to find a lot more information about what restaurants used to be in that place, but it was always French Market there. So that
Do we
is,
know, was it ever table service or was it always counter service?
I don't know. I think it was, no, I did see a lot of really old photos. It was always counter service.
When
Yeah.
I was a kid, for some reason, I would walk by it and I thought that was like an expensive sit down restaurant. I don't know why. Like we just never went there.
Oh my gosh, I think so too. And especially because the Cafe Orleans right next door to it, it kind of,
Yeah.
if you don't like really pay attention, it has the same layout. It's like a bunch of tables within a gated area. Like, how would you know that it isn't the same?
Yeah. Could be the same. It could be an extension. Yeah.
Yeah. So, speaking of, can you explain to our listeners what the French market's like in case they have skipped right by it too?
Well, what I do know about it is it is counter service or was counter service. And that's pretty much about it. Did we eat there ever? You and I?
I've definitely ate there. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if it was with you. But they call it a buffeteria. So it's
Oh,
like
okay.
one of the places you grab a tray and you go down the line. If you guys have been to like Pizza Planet, for instance, they also do that there. You walk down the line and then you choose what plates you want and they put it on your tray and then you
Plaza
go out and find
Inn.
a seat. Hmm?
Plaza Inn as well when you want that
Plaza
fried
Inn, yep,
chicken.
yep,
Yep.
absolutely. And then you find seating in the open seating area, but it does have a lot of very nice shades over the top of you, so you'll be protected by weather. Um, and I think it's funny because in one of the articles it said buffeteria. They like to call it that because it sounded classier. And I'm like, does it sound classier?
Maybe at the time. It reminds me
Buffeteria.
of the one that we like in downtown LA that they like
Totally
redid.
Clifton's.
Clifton's, yeah.
Clifton's, yep,
Yeah.
yep. So some of the design elements that were added to make it more elegant were some pressed tin ceiling tiles. They also had a domed skylight. And it kind of has in this article, it has quotations that says skylight, and evidently it's not a real skylight, which I did not know. So it's
What?
like backlit or something.
That's pretty clever. There's like another floor above it and not the sky.
I
That's
feel
crazy.
tricked. Now I need to go in there at nighttime. It's probably still lit up, right?
Yeah, forever day. Like Las Vegas casinos. Crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. They also have two tile murals, which are depicting a couple of different things. One is the first raising of the American flag and marking the completion of the Louisiana Purchase. Um, Outside where there's seating, I told you guys about the cover, like the coverage of it, but then they also have live jazz music quite often. They have a little
Oh, that's
bandstand that's
nice.
connected to the outside area. I've spent a lot of time watching bands over there. Super cool. And that's that area that they're now going to turn into opening the back out so that you can also listen and watch the band from the other side closer to the Haunted Mansion. Super cool. Also the Mint Julep Bar, I for some reason thought this was something. I think it's ever since I found out churros only came around in the 80s. I think I always like, oh, the Mint Julep Bars probably opened up in like 2001 or something. But no, it's
What?
also been there forever.
Yeah, to me that sounds real like an old drink. Old school drink.
Yeah, it's very, very Southern, but it fits the theme. So I'm like, oh, they probably figured it out later and added it to the side. Cause like churros also are classic Disneyland. That's not classic at all. The 80s. Well, I guess it is now, the 80s, but
That one I didn't know, I don't think. That it
yeah,
only
they
was
just
introduced in the 80s.
yeah, it was much later. I think they introduced it during Videopolis. Videopolis. So yeah, so that has been there since the beginning. They had both mint juleps and beignets this entire time, so that's pretty cool. And I have a pop quiz for you.
Okay.
Spell beignet.
Spell beignet. It's French. I think it's Beignет.
Damn it, you got it
Did
right.
I?
You're so good today. You're on it.
I'm on it.
I can never type that one correctly. It's always like has a red underline. I'm like, fix, thank you.
Thanks. Foreign language, it's all right.
Right. So French Market, as we know, it closed February 16th of this year to make room for Tiana to move her stuff in. So very cute. And they also have showed some content of what Tiana's palace looks like. They showed like the redesign, and I just think it's super, super cute. Have you seen it yet?
So much detail. Like this is the kind of detail that they normally save for like a fine dining restaurant or
Mm-hmm.
like Expedition Everest queue. Like it has so much story, right? From what we've
Right.
seen. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. Some of the things I saw that I thought were a little noteworthy are basically they have like a lot of things on the walls. So like how you're talking about Expedition Everest queue, like just things to look at while you're walking around. And they have a whole shelf of cookbooks, totally
That's
fitting.
cute.
Different ingredients, pots and pans hanging on the wall. They have an entire new color palette to match Tiana's theme versus the French market. They've painted over or covered the old murals with new ones that are super beautiful and look like the bayou.
Nice.
They even have like a little coat rack with coats and hats hanging on it that look kind of just makes it look like it's alive and breathing, like
I
a
like
lived
that.
in
It's like
space,
lived
right?
in. Yep.
Totally. And then they have some jazz instruments, of course, because we are in New Orleans after all. So they have some instruments like sitting around on shelving and like kind of in areas of the Tiana's Palace. But one of my favorite things is that it has a giant drum that says the the Firefly 5 plus Lou. And I don't know, was this what it was called in the film? Do you remember? The Firefly 5, I can't say it.
It was like a singers band
Yeah, like a
of the
band. I
bugs
can't
with
I can't remember if it was
yeah.
actually called that or not, but that has to be a tribute to the Firehouse 5, right? Like it's
Oh, I
too
didn't think of
close.
that. What is the Firehouse Five?
It is a band. It was like an Imagineering band, and they would play like with Imagineering, and then they also had it in the park. I think they did up until not even that long ago, and they kind of play around like the fire truck. They like bring it out, and it's kind of part of their
Oh,
little show, and the ladder comes out, and so yeah, it's this whole thing that like kind of started. I think Ward Kimball was like the main star of the Imagineering version of the Firehouse Five. Um, and he's such a animated character
yeah.
in
It
real
has
life,
to be a tribute, right? Yeah, because I don't
right?
remember them calling them anything in the movie, so that would
Yeah,
make
I
sense.
wonder if it's just like a tie into Disneyland or if it was there already and could have been since the beginning a tribute. I don't know, but either way, it looks super super cute. I'm very excited to check it out soon. So many
What
things
do you think
changing
of
and just so exciting.
the attached Tiana's Palace restrooms renovation? What do you think of that?
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
So you go in there and it's all Dr. Facilier's like laboratory and his dark place. And
Are
then
you
there's
lying
like
to me? He's lying to me.
ghosts and things while you're trying to use the bathroom. Oh, it's so amazing.
First of all, that would be amazing, but you are a big liar. According to Mike TV, you heard it here first. Oh my god, could you imagine like a blacklit bathroom? That would be awful, but it would be so fun. Like,
Ew, I didn't even think of it gross wise too. Yeah.
yeah,
But I think I think a lot of the fans just they really want some Facilier action here. So we'll see.
they they do have the restrooms like right kind of behind that too. So
Ooh.
maybe you could copyright that now.
There you go.
All right. Well, anyway, guys, we are coming to a wrap. But today we talked about tons of new things coming to Disneyland. We talked about hurricanes, earthquakes, Ahsoka, new Oogie Boogie Bash villains, Haunted Mansion updates that I'm freaking out about, and a lot of food, and especially at Tiana's Palace. So, whoo,
Yeah.
excited
Well,
to go
thanks
eat all the
everyone.
things.
Eat all the things and describe them as you're eating them so you can
Yes.
enjoy it to its fullest extent. Well, thank you everyone for hanging out with us. We hope you enjoyed episode 152 of the Disney Holic Show.
Follow us on social media at the Disney Holics.
And if you want to get in touch, send us a DM on Instagram or contact us at thedisneyholics.com.
Okay,
Bye.
bye.
Man, I really want to go to Disneyland.